Hey everyone, what is going on? MysticFox Live and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're doing an updated edition of everything we know about Payday 3. I first made this video back in October of 2020, going over all the things we knew about the upcoming Payday franchise sequel, talking about all the things we already knew about the game, all the core facts, the things we could expect in the game when it releases, and more information since then has released that is now well worth adding on to the video we already had. So in this video, I will give you a definitive list of everything we know about the upcoming Payday 3, all of the features, all of the release plans, and everything in between. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video and discuss everything we know about Payday 3. Roll the intro. So in this video now, I've got 5 different topics I want to cover: the game engine, the release date, the publisher, the platforms, and the post-launch content. 5 very key things that encompass all of the key things we know about the upcoming Payday 3. So let's get into them and start off with the game engine. While Payday 2 is a fantastic game, it's thoroughly enjoyable and has a lot of good things to it, there is one thing a lot of Payday fans can agree on that really isn't very good about Payday 2, and that thing is its game engine. After 8 years of heisting on the shambolic engine known as Diesel Engine 2.0, a lot of Payday 2 fans are desperate to know if the next game will follow suit with this engine or switch to something a bit more modern and easier to play. Diesel is full of bugs and issues that arise with every single update. There are certain features of Payday 2 that just don't run properly down to the engine, and it's one of the main reasons as to why console players have been dealt the short straw continuously over the years when it comes to post-launch content. Because Diesel Engine is so temperamental and so poor to manage and so uncommonly used in the gaming industry that when you're making new content for other platforms, you have to redevelop it from the ground up, whereas normally in any other engine, you could build up the content and port it to any platform with very little hassle. And that's why on consoles you've got updates slower or some things have not arrived in any way, shape or form at any point. Because with Diesel you have to build everything up from the ground up and it can create more problems that are unique to platforms. It can be a real mess. Rest assured that Payday 3 will not have this issue. It will instead be running on Unreal Engine 4, an engine created by Epic Games and one that is far more commonplace in the gaming industry, one that runs content a lot better and again allows you to develop content for all platforms with very little issue and without having to redevelop things for certain consoles in mind. One of the first key reasons as to why Payday 3 will definitely not have the same problems on consoles that it did with Payday 2. Next up, let's include a piece of newer news regarding the publisher for the upcoming Payday 3. After being in limbo for well over a year while Starbreeze were trying to find a new publisher to help fund their game and get it out of the door, Koch Media have finally signed a deal with Starbreeze, meaning they will be publishing the future Payday title. But for those of you who don't know what a publisher does, a very simple summation of what they do is they fund game developers to allow them to make the best possible game they can so that when they release it, it's a very high quality and can compete and do better than similar games in today's market. Starbreeze is a company that definitely needed some funding after its financial issues with Overkill's The Walking Dead and other projects back in 2017 and 2018. And so finding their publisher in Koch Media has resulted in them being able to fully develop Payday 3. They have all the funding they need for the game and they're working hard on building the game now, with development first starting back in October 2019, meaning there is some kind of core framework of Payday 3 already in existence since main game development began 18 months ago. Koch Media have worked on and published other games in the past that you might have known, such as games from the Metro franchise, Saints Row, or Dead Island. But they do have their downsides, and one particular downside that's causing a lot of contention links to the very next topic of this video. So let's talk platforms, and first off let's focus on the people who may have had a bit more trouble over the last few years, or should I say definitely had a bit more trouble over the last few years. Payday 3 is confirmed to be coming out on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. No mention of Nintendo Switch or Google Stadia, so for those of you wondering about those platforms, there's been no information with regards to those. What's also not been confirmed is whether or not Payday 2 will release on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, or just Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 or something in between. But either way, I am completely confident it will release on Xbox Series X and PS5, I'm just not sure about the now last-gen consoles, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. But with a whole heap of funding from Koch Media and investors, as well as a better game engine, it's fair to say that the console versions are looking a lot more stable this time than the ones we saw for Payday 2. I, for one, am very excited to see this game release on all platforms, but I know a lot of console players are still very distrusting of Overkill, and that is completely fair. I can't blame anyone for having issues with Overkill's console history because it has been pretty damn bad. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people forget that it isn't Overkill's hatred of consoles or something that's caused these console updates to have such problems. If Overkill really did not want to make Payday 2 or Payday 3 for consoles. If they didn't want to make the money, they wouldn't do it. But they know there's a huge revenue source on consoles, and that's why they make the games on there. They just don't have the ability to port content as easily because Diesel Engine is a piece of garbage. With that out of the way, the console version should hopefully be a lot smoother in the upcoming game. But as I mentioned, the publisher that I was just talking about has created a bit of a problem for platforms, and that being the PC side of things, because there is now a potential issue that Payday 3 may release as an Epic Games Store exclusive. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about the issues people have with the Epic Games Store, and in fact, I'm going to be doing a video in the coming weeks talking about whether or not Payday 3 will be exclusive to that platform, in which I'll do a lot more research and come up with a more constructive argument. But it is fair to say that a lot of PC players have an extreme distaste of the Epic Games Store for several different reasons. Koch Media is known to be a big fan of the Epic Games Store and of Epic Games in general, and in the past has released games as timed exclusives on that store. So it's not entirely impossible to say that they may release Payday 3 on the Epic Games Store as an exclusive, be it permanently or timed. Right now, it's just something we can all theorize over. We don't know for certain what platform it's going to release on. Originally, before the publisher was confirmed, Starbreeze did say in a company presentation that they were going to release on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, and as a lot of you know, Payday 2 has the biggest Steam community in the world. If you combine the community sizes of both the two games underneath Payday 2, you still can't overtake the over 7 million player strong community that Payday 2 has behind its back on the Steam network. In my personal opinion, and in a lot of other opinions across PC players for Payday 2, it would be a massive oversight to ignore that community and just put it on Epic Games anyway. But at the end of the day, it may not be down to overkill, because one problem with publishing agreements is that publishers can have a say of the development and release of the game. It varies between game, and we don't know the details of the agreement between Koch Media and Starbreeze, but it is entirely possible that that company will have some say over the release of Payday 3. So we just do not know what platform it will release on right now, so for the time being, the best we can do is hope for it to stay on Steam and that it won't touch the Epic Games Store at all. That way, a lot of PC players will be happy, and the console players will also be happy, because they're definitely going to have better versions of Payday 3. It is a surefire fact, otherwise Overkill just wouldn't have confirmed console versions. But of course, actions speak a lot louder than my words, so we'll just have to see what happens in the coming years. Speaking of coming years, let's talk next about the release date for Payday 3. Now, originally a window was provided between 2022 and 2023 for when Payday 3 could release. However, when Koch Media was confirmed as Payday 3's publisher, Starbreeze also saw fit to narrow that window, confirming that Payday 3 will release in the year of 2023. So Payday 3 is approximately 2 years away, could be a little more, could be a little less. As for when the game will release, I have two potential options as to when in 2023 the game might come out. It's entirely possible that they might release the game in late 2020 in October or November and follow a similar Call of Duty strategy, where after a month or two when it comes up to Christmas, you drop the price a bit so people buy the game at Christmas as well to boost sales at the end of the year. It's a tried and tested strategy, it does work well, and it's something they could go for, but the other option, and the option I actually prefer, is to release the game on the 13th of August 2023. A very poetic release date, because it means the game would come out 10 years to the date of Payday 2's original launch on PC. There's just something quite poetic about that, and I would like to see them follow that up, but I don't know whether that's their plan or not. And it is also worth mentioning that it might get delayed. The game may not release in 2023, it could get put back, and if it does, then all of this is for nothing anyway. But as of right now, we have relatively fair confidence that the game will be releasing in 2023, and considering development started in October of 2019, that means they'll have had roughly 3 to 4 years to make the game. And with a larger amount of devs than they had for Payday 2, as well as double the time it took them to make Payday 2, since there was only 2 years between Payday the Heist and Payday 2, it's fair to say they've got a good chunk of time to build a solid game there that really will allow us to live the heisting fantasy. That being the tagline Starbreeze have used when referring to Payday 3. Finally, we come on to the last topic of the video, future content and DLC. Again, something else that was reconfirmed to us when they confirmed the publishers for Payday 3, Starbreeze announced that Payday 3 would have a games-as-a-service live service structure with regards to its upcoming content. A statement which made a lot of people panic quite quickly, and also, in my opinion, quite unnecessarily, because it is worth remembering that Payday 2 has the exact same model. For those of you who don't know what games-as-a-service means, it's basically when a game releases for full retail price, but afterwards has more DLC added to it to constantly evolve the game and add more to it over a set period of time, be it 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. In Payday 2's case, 8 years. But it basically means we can hopefully expect a similar strategy with Payday 3 that we saw with Payday 2. Constant updates for the game, some being free and some being paid. I think a lot of people panic when you hear games as a live service because some games have released recently that have also adopted this games as a service model and maybe didn't go too well. Marvel's Avengers! But the point being, I don't think there's much reason to panic. I think it will be exactly the same as we've seen with Payday 2, and if it's not, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that that rounds off all 5 topics in everything we know about Payday 3. So to summarize, the game is going to be developed on Unreal Engine, it will be released on PC, be it Steam or Epic Games Store, as well as Xbox and PlayStation. It's being published by Koch Media, it will release in 2023, and will follow a Games as a Service DLC model after the game releases in 2023, with continued content being released after the game's launch in a similar way to Payday 2 of both paid and free DLC content. Now I want to know what you think about everything I've talked about in this video, as well as what you'd like to see in Payday 3. Do you like or dislike some of the things I've talked about with regards to Payday 3? Are there things you have either for excitement or fears for the future of the game? Let me know all of your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. I'll be very interested to see what you've all got to say about the upcoming Payday game. But that does bring an end to the video, so if you have enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. It lets me know you enjoyed this content and would like to see more. And if you are new around here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, because it's quick, it's free, and I'll always love you for doing so. As always, a special thanks go to both my patrons and YouTube channel members for supporting me beyond watching my regular content. If you'd like to join them and get your credits in the outro of the video, then just head to a link in the description to follow me on whatever platform you prefer. Donations that are never expected but are always appreciated and will always help support me in the channel to keep content coming out, keep things fresh, and keep things high quality. Either way, I will see you all next weekend with a brand new Payday video. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and thanks for watching.